All right, so the donation items were released, and so I want to talk about the gold community prize items that we reached the 3 trillion gold stretch goals, so everyone had access. The top 100 donators got um, darkness variants, and so congratulations to those guys. Um, and so wanted to talk about the items for it. The heroic titan, I did not get the top 100, the darkness variant. I don't farm golds, and I just kept my gold um, storage chests that I obtained a reskin and a different element variant. For me, it's not enough to. I don't have like fear of missing out for that personally. So um, I don't see myself if that's the way it's going to be. I don't know that I would. I'm gonna try to go for top whatever for the gold stuff going forward. But I wanted to talk about the items here. So here's the shield here, and so basically it does backlash prismatic burn. So let's start with it. It's fire element, um, but it'll backlash up to 4 hits prismatic burn. And so in this case, you have 2.42 for 1 round. Let's see what we get here. So now we're up to 3.63. So that's the shield in a nutshell. Costs I think 78. I think no 98 per turn to do. It's similar to like the Winter Warden, but it does prismatic burn instead of Elevol. All right, so I'm gonna talk about the magic weapon, the melee and range weapons. So all of the weapons take a damage penalty. Um, well, the melee and range weapon take a pretty significant damage penalty. Plus, I want to say it's like 180 something SP, and when you toggle on the prismatic burn mode, and it inflicts prismatic burn. The weapon for magic is actually after spell casts, and it's only after the spell cast of the element of the weapon. So in this case, fire spells, the darkness variant, darkness spells. A lot of folks are automatically um, thinking of necromancer, maybe in part because the magic weapons also boost all spell damage or boost spell damage of the element by 20%. So they can be used in place of cutlasses because they also inflict the prismatic burn, and they all, in addition to that, they inflict the normal element burn of the weapon. And so you're able to actually get both prismatic burn and regular burn at the same time, especially if you're casting spells that inflict burn already. And so um, if you're into DOTs, you can do a variety of options. The game is littered with DOTs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pivot, go ahead and cast a spell. I'm going to do Seeing Red here. And as you can see, the prismatic burns up to 1. So every landed hit, it's basically, I think it's up to 4 hits. So we have a 4 turn up to 1.09 power. And I just got hit twice, so now it's up to 1.332. So basically, what you're doing is you have to have the 392 in addition to what you're spending in MP. Now I'm going to pivot to 74th Law, which is going to do a burn and a bleed. So you're actually going to see, so the burn, the stack there's 6.5, prismatic burns up to 1.9. Hit 2 more times, prismatic burns up to 2.139. So 74th Law again. So for those of you that play Beastmasters and use heal resource, heal setups, Creature 72 phase, for example, this is extremely strong because you're healing back both resources that you're using in this playstyle. I would say maybe like a Lucky Beast Mage. This is most excellent for out of everybody. That's just what I personally think. Most people seem to think that the magic weapon is designed better than the melee and ranged weapons. Also, a lot of people don't like the shield too much because they don't like being hit. They don't want an effect after being hit. I personally think it's fine. I'm running Panic. I run other chokes and other forms of damage reducers. So to me, it doesn't really matter if I'm hit. I'm not going to be hit very hard. As you can see, already up to 3 power prismatic burn and a 10.81 power fire burn. So we're going to have 3,500 down to 1,700. So it took off half of the monster's hit points right there, about 17 to 1,800 damage. All right, so I need 392 SP. So I'm going to go ahead and do this because I'm now going to pivot to the Misk. So the Misk, you take 50% fire damage, and then for 78 SP, you basically will heal it as long as the monster's burning. You'll heal 40 hit points, up to 4 hits, so maximum of 160 hit points. Works with spells, works with attacks. You're going to see my hit points heal here. 40 per hit's kind of weak. But as you can see, Prismatic Burn is actually up to 4.849, and my Fire Burn was up to 17 power. So collectively, I think the weapon and the shield works great together. I would actually just use something else besides the Misk. Like, for example, just use Optico with this Creature 72 phase setup. I think that is actually a lot better. All right, so I'm going to pivot to this armor here, and it works both ways. You can do this first or you can do this second. I've tested it both ways, but I wanted to show. So if you remember, this armor has a permanent prismatic burn, which is pretty weak. Let's see, 0.276. I think you can get it to around 0.4. As you notice, it went up to 0.3 for being hit. But the thing that I really want to show is how quickly this permanent prismatic burn will climb with this setup. So 0.5, 0.6. So now we're at 0.7. So keep in mind, it doesn't change the number of turns, it stays permanent. You could do this stuff first and then do the permanent prismatic burn. It'll change the number of turns to permanent and it'll average the same. .203. So, like one or two power prismatic burn that's permanent, it's quite good. Also, by casting 74th Law, you're doing bleed. So we've got a 1.2 prismatic burn, a 1.099 bleed, a 9 power fire burn, and it should add up to quite a bit of damage. And just as a reminder, prismatic burn actually hits every element, and then it rolls it into the one number that you see. And the value of it, I guess, is against like a boss with a damage cap, maybe. If you're able to, and you probably won't be able to do this, but each one versus the cap can add up to be quite a bit. But it's a way to kind of increase above the cap, because if they had a 300 damage cap, all of this is going to add up to more than that. So as opposed to like this bleed harm damage or that regular fire burn will just be up to the cap. So that's some of the advantage of prismatic burn, but it is heavily dependent on the monster. It will be very random. A monster with some negatives, some really low resists, it's not going to perform as well. It would be kind of nice if versus a negative resist, if it defaulted to a harm hit or something, it would be kind of I think it would be a lot better. But um, ultimately, these are the items here. Again, the melee and range weapon inflict based on landing, just hitting the attack button. Uh, I think the weapon plus 20% damage to fire spells, prismatic burn, fire burn, all in one weapon for casting spells. Lots of good fire spells out there to stack it with. Um, a beast setup or a defensive setup, you're going to start stacking DOTs pretty quickly. You're going to be doing a lot more damage than you realize pretty quick, especially as long as you're able to heal back the MP and SP that you need. I give the weapon a 9 out of 10. The shields maybe a 7 out of 10. I personally like backlashing effects like Winter Warden. Some people may not like it. They don't like the fact that you have to be hit. I'm sure those are the same people that prefer self buffs over inflictions, like def boosts over blinds and shit like that. They just want the reliability, the known. So I don't know if that statement would be accurate or not, but and then the misc probably more like a 4 out of 10. You could ditch the misc. Healing 40 hit points per landed hit, it's going to cap at 160. I would rather just reduce damage with panics and chokes and stuff like that. To finish this up, I just wanted to reiterate why I think the misc is not necessarily the best route. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to attack, have a barrier. The monster didn't hit me. Let's do this again. Barrier. All right, so the monster hits me. It avoided it, but it attempted the prismatic burn. Let's see what happens this time. Miss again. Piece of shit monster. All right, so it actually landed this time. So we have a prismatic burn. It did 0 damage to me. That feels like it's a lot better than relying on healing by reducing damage, like 0.134 panic or a barrier. But that's it. Going to be it for this video. Those are some ideas to use with the item. Maybe the best build to use with it, honestly, is like maybe a Lucky Beast Mage, because the weapon, I think, for the magic variant, it was designed a little bit more superior than the melee and ranged variant. And then the Creature 72 phase meta kind of plays into it by healing both resources, which you're going to be using. And then the beast builds can really rely on the DOTs for damage and not just, a different set of pet and guest or just, using spells or playing in a full offensive style. So anyway, that's it for this video. Have a good day.